So today I'm going to talk about standing out. Okay, and I want to talk about standing out because as Fit Queen grows in popularity, and we'll call it fame, I don't think I'm famous, but as it grows, um, the more critics you get, right? That's just the way that it goes, and that's kind of the one of the things that you can't really help, right? If you want to be loved, you have to be prepared to be hated. And I think that really relates to you ladies along your journey because you are transforming into a type of woman that's very unique, and there's not a lot of you, and you do stand out in a very good way. And I want to kind of break down what's going on there and kind of reassuring you that this uniqueness, that this difference that you're building in a good way, you should keep building, even when the critics are super loud, or even the critic in your own head sometimes. So the story I want to tell you today is a really cool story. I heard this, I want to say 2 weeks ago or so, and it was a story about zebras. Okay, so there was this group of people studying zebras, and they wanted to know, why are they striped? Why are zebras striped, black and white striped? And the first thing you think of when it comes to animals' coats or skin is usually it's for camouflage, right? That's usually the first go-to. But I don't think there's many plants in South Africa that have black and white stripes on them, right? I don't think they're camouflaging into the jungles or whatever over there. So it couldn't be to camouflage in an environment. So then they were thinking, okay, they're camouflaging with each other, right? They're blending in with the pack. So they didn't really understand why this was happening. So they started to study the zebra's habits and behaviors to try and see why maybe they needed to blend with each other, right? So quite quickly they realized they couldn't keep track of the zebras. They couldn't keep track, right? One moved over here and then he thought this one was that one. They all looked the same. So they had a really hard time figuring out one zebra's patterns. So what they ended up doing was they took like a red marker, red paint, and they painted a dot on one of the zebras. And the zebra with the red dot is the one that they studied and that they could recognize no matter where it was in the pack. So awesome, they figured that out, now they could track it. Well, guess what happened when they did that? Guess what happened to every single one that they marked as red? The lions got to it. Now, why is that? Well, lions hunt in a pack, and they don't go after a full pack, they usually just stick to one. And lions have a really hard time as a group identifying which zebra to go after when they all camouflage with each other, right? So the second that we marked one, it put a big target on that zebra, and they all knew who to go after. So the moral of the story here, ladies, is if you stand out, you are a very easy target. Standing out will put you in the most vulnerable of places. And I thought this was so cool because it is just like humans, right? If we do anything against the status quo, you are instantly recognized and usually condemned, especially in cancel culture and all that fun stuff. So what is the status quo? Well, it's pretty much mediocrity, right? You kind of like your job, you have an okay relationship with your husband, you're pretty good roommates, your kids are pretty successful, but you're not super close. You're not sad, but you're definitely not as happy as you could be. You kind of live in the middle. Not horrible by any means, but not remarkable, right? We're in that middle. And then the second you veer from that middle path, the second you veer from what everybody else is doing, the normal, you become instantly highlighted. Everybody can see it, right? So say you have an amazing relationship with your husband. You guys are just outstanding, always flirting with each other in public, always communicating, praising each other, an absolutely amazing relationship. What do people start doing? They say, oh, you're so lucky. You're so lucky. And they immediately try to discredit. Maybe you actually worked hard at that relationship, right? What do you do when you start to lose weight? Same thing. They try to discredit your success. Oh, well, you've never had kids, or you've never gone through menopause, or your kids are grown up now, right? It could go on and on. It can go either way. They discredit your hard work, all because you stand out. You've got a red mark on you the second you become abnormal, in the best of ways. And the haters, unfortunately, tend to be the loudest ones in the room, the loudest ones on the internet, right? So you'll always be, the second you do something that isn't normal, something that is above average in difficulty to achieve, you immediately set yourself apart, and people in your life, whether they know you well or not, will get jealous because they think they deserve it, and they think you've done something sneaky to get it because for some reason they can't get it themselves, right? When you know, and you're sitting there and you know all the hours and all the mental work that's gone into achieving that thing that they're not willing to do, or they're too lazy to do. Instead, it's easy to either blame you for having something that they don't have, or just calling it luck. So the second you stand out, you have to be prepared to be attacked by the lions. They now recognize where they can put all their anger and disappointment from themselves. They can channel it right to you. And they take down a lot of zebras that way. They put a lot of people back into their box that way, right? You've probably been put back into your box, right? You've been put back into your box because it was uncomfortable, it was dangerous. And everybody seems to want to share their opinion of you. Have you heard this one before? Have you been in that situation? Everybody thinks that they know what's best for you. You're too overweight. Oh, but now you look too skinny. Oh, but now you're too obsessed with food. Oh, but now you're not fun anymore. But how long are you going to eat like that? You're too obsessed with the way that you look, right? You've heard one of those before. Everybody has their own opinion, and they share it to the people who stick out, who stand out, who have the red mark on them because they were brave enough to know that the lions will attack, but still keep going. Because there's only two options, ladies, and that's what you need to accept and decide and go full force in. Option number one, you put the red mark on yourself, knowing full well you're going right into the lion's den. Or option number two, you camouflage with the rest of the pack and you live a mediocre life with no danger, with no discomfort. Truth be told, you probably won't even know there's a problem, but you'll always be unhappy, unfulfilled. So there's really only two options. And I think we all know what option we would like to take. And I think we all know what option sounds better, right? Standing out sounds great. We all want to do it, right? We all want to have our own success story, right? Started from the bottom, now we're here. We all want to be that, but who's actually going to do it? Because it's not really when the lions attack, or it's not if the lions attack, it's when they attack. And then it's how many attacks can you withstand? How many times have you been beaten down by people who matter and people who don't matter, but it still affected you? How many times are you going to get attacked and keep going? That is the name of this game. When you chose to be a fit queen, when you choose to go on your own journey of self-growth, self-discovery, self-improvement, you are immediately standing out. Nobody pursues that in life. We pursue comfort. And what you are doing right now is far from comfortable. Can I get an amen? Very far from comfortable. So you're going to be standing out, ladies. You are in the lion's den. You need to be aware of that. And then you need to be brave and accept that. You cannot skirt around it. Now, you can remove people in your life. You can distance yourself from people in your life, but that still won't stop it completely. So you got to start toughening up your skin at some point. And you have to start believing in yourself. You have to remind yourself that I put this red mark on myself. So there's no pity party for the reason people are treating you the way that they are. Why what they're saying is affecting you so much. Why what you're saying to yourself is affecting you so much. There's no pity party for it because you brought this on yourself. But we forget about that. We forget that we asked for it. And we forget on purpose. Because as soon as we remember, we can't be upset anymore. Because there really is no other choice except to go back into the herd. Wipe off the red mark. But it's kind of like in the Matrix, right? Blue pill, red pill. Once you take that pill, you can't unsee, you can't unknow what you've learned. So you can't stop. You can't put the red mark on you and then decide to take it off. You don't want to be that person. That is more painful than being attacked in the first place, right? Trying to be this strong, unique, special person and then realizing you're not. That's the worst. That's the worst. It's not a good feeling. Don't do that to yourself. Don't go backwards. Don't let yourself wipe off that mark. If you ever had that self-doubt, that negative self-talk, or too many people telling you too many different things, you have to remember you did that to yourself. You chose that, and there's a reason why you chose it. It's hard to stand alone. It's easy to disappear in a crowd. It's easy. It's easy. Do you want to die knowing you said you did life easy? Not me. I mean, that's not a leader I want to follow. The easy way. Right? Think of who counts on you. Think of who's looking up to you. Think of who you're influencing. Easy isn't going to cut it when it comes down to war. Easy doesn't cut it. And there's a saying, I think it's by Dr. Seuss, and it says, you were born to stand out. Something like that. You were born to stand out. And I mean, I think that's a great message for kids, and it's a great message overall. It's inspiring. But I think for this context, it doesn't apply. You weren't born to stand out. You were born to stay safe and fit in, stay alive. Everything biologically and physiologically made up in us, like rings alarm bells when we try to stand out. Don't do it. It's uncomfortable. They're going to judge you. Everything your body does is to keep you safe. So you weren't born to stand out. You were born to fit in and stay safe. Stay in the middle of the crowd. Not even just in the crowd, right in the middle, so you got protection all around you. That's what you were born to do. That's how you automatically react. So you are fighting your natural instincts, which is crazy. You're overriding your natural instincts. And that's really difficult because then you fight with, am I ignoring my intuition or not? And it's totally separate. These are just archaic, safe systems put in place to keep us from getting attacked by the lions. That's what this is. And it's crazy. You're not born to stand out. You're born to fit in. And then you get to choose if you want to stand out. That is a choice. And that is how you can live with the pressure of it. Because there's pressure on either side. They're going to judge you either way. Right? They're going to judge you for being lazy and someone who doesn't follow through. Or they're going to judge you for being obsessed and too focused. Like there's everything under the sun. You'll never please everybody. Right? You won't. Right? They will laugh at you because you're different. But you can laugh at them because they're all the same. Right? Think of 5 people right now who you don't necessarily like. Quickly, 5 people in your head. Boom, 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 boom. 5 people. Who not that you hate, just that you could care less for, right? A coworker, maybe a distant relative, an in-law, whatever. 5 people you don't necessarily like. Think of them. They're probably very similar. They probably have the same attitude, gossip, complain, make you feel the same way about yourself, right? Laugh at them. They're the same person. They're the same person. They're going to end up in the same spot. and they would never put a red mark on themselves. They're living in their own box. They keep themselves in their own box because they're afraid to even just face the lions. The lions usually aren't as scary as you think they are. You just have to decide the type of person that you want to be, knowing this information. Because choosing it after you know it is a whole different type of empowerment. It really is. It really is. Because some of you can resonate with what I'm saying. Some of you haven't run into the lions yet. Some of you have. Maybe you're your own lion to yourself. But it's there. Every time you try to do something different, something out of normal, something that you're not used to, something that feels unnatural or takes effort, just effort in general is different. People put in the bare minimum effort to survive. That's it. They clock into their job and they leave and they check out mentally. They check out mentally. That's easy. It's so easy and it's so safe. So safe. And it's pretty comfy and it can be pretty fun sometimes. I've had some good times on movie marathons, binge eating snacks all night long. I've had some good times. But that instant pleasure of what that did doesn't outweigh the immense pride I have in myself for choosing to bear the red mark. Because that's what makes me feel special. Because I'm not special. I'm not really special. I'm not the smartest person. There's someone smarter, there's someone cooler, funnier, fitter. There's always someone better. But what makes me special and what makes me feel special to myself is that I actually choose the red mark. Because I know there is less than 1% of the population that actively makes that decision. And I think that's pretty cool. And I think when you think you're worthless, and I think when you think there's not much to you, and you're struggling or you're failing or you're wondering, is this possible for me? The one thing that you can be proud of is that you chose to bear this burden. It wasn't just placed on you and you're helpless. You were strong enough to make that decision, still knowing what it meant, and then you still carried it. And you haven't wiped it off. I think that is so cool. And that's what helps me sleep at night when my own insecurities creep up. That's what it is. I think not thinking I'm special is what makes me very special. Because not many people can be that self-reflective. Isn't that cool? Some inception right there. I think that's what it is, ladies. We are all so similar. We're all given the same 24 hours in a day. We're all, for the most part, given very similar opportunities. It's what you do with them, how you look at them. It's perspective. It's everything. And I think that's so cool. I think that's it. Sometimes that's all you need to know. Sometimes you don't have to have an answer. Sometimes you don't have to see progress. Sometimes you can fail and be okay with it. As long as you can be like, yeah, I'm the girl. I'm the girl who's got the red mark. And I put it there myself. That's super cool to me. And so, you will be an easy target, ladies, along this journey. Whatever you do in life, whatever area, what you find is as your health gets better, as your weight decreases, people notice you. People want to either be like you or figure out your secrets or tear you down because what you're doing is very uncommon. And when they see this, you stand out. You stand out, not even just physically stand out, but your aura changes, your energy changes. People can sense it and it makes them uneasy because it widens the gap in themselves. You don't know how bad you feel until you start feeling good. And then you realize, oh, I was there. You don't realize how crappy and in an awful place you are until you get a taste of what good actually is. And you are that taste of change, of good. You're the taste of action, of anti-laziness that most people are too afraid to go for. And when you face them, it's all their fears and all their imperfections looking right back at them in you. You represent everything they hate about themselves, which is crazy. You could do a whole talk on that. But you are easy. You bring it out instantly in people because you are so steadfast in you and your worth, or you're working on it. People can sense that, and people don't like that. Whether they love you or not, it still highlights their own insecurities. And you're vulnerable. You are the most vulnerable. You are the easiest target ever to throw something at. And sometimes people need that, right? Sometimes people need a punching bag. And that's what you're going to be for some people. And you don't have to take it. You don't have to stick around. But it's going to happen. And in the moment when it really affects you, and it will, depends on the person, depends on how deep they cut, right? Depends on their value to you. When it hurts, you got to remember that you chose that, and they're not talking to you. They're talking to themselves. They just chose you because you stood out. You're a scapegoat. So you're an easy target, ladies. We all are easy targets. That's the game we chose. It's the risky route. It's the haters are the loudest over here. Because if you blend in, the haters aren't really loud. They're really, really not. Because you don't pull it out in them. They're loud where we're going. They're loud where you're going. Bring some earplugs. All right, ladies? So, it's okay to stand out, but you have to make the choice. If you're going to do something different, you accept that that means you are now an easy target. And you keep going. And you keep going because you wear that red mark with pride. You stained your skin yourself. And you walk with your chest tall. And you remember that when it gets to you. Whether that's happening right now in your life or in the future. Remember that when it gets to you. That's the exciting part. Remembering that is what makes you special. Because maybe what those people say is true sometimes. Maybe there's some truth to it. But it doesn't matter. Because if it's true, you're going to fix what you don't like about what they said. And if it's not true, you can brush it off your shoulders. Because that is what people who stand out do. And that's the journey that you are on. And you opted in for. You volunteered as tribute. Right? You volunteered. And the biggest thing that I can say about it is that that's what makes me feel special. That's what makes me feel truly unique when I have nothing else in my back pocket on a weekday. It's that. I'm so special because I realize I'm not special. And nobody realized that because everybody wants to be a special snowflake. Right? And if you're not, and you accept it, well, then you've just set yourself apart. So maybe you are. It's crazy. It's crazy how you can spin things and change your perception and get your mind on your side. Because remember, biologically, you're made up to stay safe. Your mind will be attacking you. It'll be fighting itself. Your mind will say one thing, then it will contradict itself because you're fighting the natural instinct to stay alive. No conflict, no fighting, no disturbances, right? No change. Change is the worst. Change is the most dangerous thing because it's all uncertain. You don't know. But someone's got to do it. And you want to wait around for someone else to check first? If change is good, it's safe over here to change in this way. It's going to take a long time to get to where you want to be. So jump, run, dunk yourself in red. I don't care. Just make that choice. Know that it's there and make that choice, ladies. You got to make that choice on your own. So I've just told you the two options here on this journey. If you're finding that you are too exposed or too much negative feedback from yourself or from others, there's two options. You accept the red mark and you keep pushing forward regardless of the lions being able to spot you easier, or you stay in the pack. You stay back in the pack. It's up to you to choose. I know what I'm choosing. I know what helps me sleep at night. I know what would help you sleep at night. But you have to make that brave decision. Because it only gets harder. This stuff only gets harder because the haters get louder. Because the brighter you shine, the more people you're going to blind. And they're going to have something to say about it. That's what it is. But the good news is, the brighter you shine, the more people you can impact. And the more love you'll have as well. It's just you have to be prepared for the hate. And you got to be able to push it away, knowing that it's there. Having it there is actually a sign that you're doing something right. Have you thought about it like that before? It means you're doing something right. It means you're usually in the right direction. When celebrities get the most hate online, guess what? They say bad publicity is still publicity. Right? Everybody comes out. Look what happened to, was it Mel Gibson? He still got movies after his craziness. We won't mention that. But he still got his, the haters are going to hate. Haters are going to hate. What are you going to do? You got to keep pushing. You're going to make some mistakes. And people are going to see that and capitalize on that. But you chose this life, ladies, and that's the cool part. So, who's choosing the red spot? That's what you got to ask yourself. Who's choosing it? Show me your hands. Who's choosing it? There you go. You said it. Now you got to follow through with it when it counts. And that's what we're here for, ladies. We have to drown out the haters. We have to drown out the haters because they will just get louder. Because guess what? You're going to keep doing better. So that's actually a great measure of progress. How loud are your haters? Because I personally find the less haters, the more poorly I'm doing. Actually. The more poorly I'm doing in every aspect. Every aspect. Relationship, business, health. If I'm not getting negative feedback, usually means I'm not trying enough. Usually means I am pulling back a little bit for fear of judgment. So, on another note, if you find it's been quiet lately, and there aren't too many haters, have you been slacking? Have you been a little slow? Have you been convincing yourself it's okay because you're comfortable? Right? You can look at that side too. So just little words of wisdom for you today, ladies. I hope that can help you, be steadfast in your decision when sometimes it becomes cloudy or somebody who means something to you says something that can really dig deep. That means you're doing something right. And you just got to lean in. You got to lean in. It hurts. You're going to push that knife in a little deeper, but it means you're doing something right because you're standing out more and people are noticing. It's nice to be noticed sometimes, but you're going to be noticed regardless. So be proud of you and yourself and just look forward. Don't look to the sides. Don't look back. Look forward or look down at your red spot when you need to. But just keep going. All right, ladies. So that is for any lady who has the crazy battle in their head right now, who feels like they're sinking, who's got people pulling you in different directions. This is for you. Even if those people are just yourself. You chose the life. So go all in. See how loud you can get the haters. Make it a game. Make it a game.